Hey guys, it is Steve with The Broker Life. I'm the broker over at Savi Realty here in Las Vegas. And today I'm going to be talking about something I think that's a lot of fun: buying land, and what you as a consumer need to know when you are purchasing. I'm going to go over 4 different top things. The last one is the most important, and so stick around for that, because the previous 3 that I talk about are all going to affect that last one that we do go over, right? Now, land is fun to me. I love land. I love purchasing land. I love representing buyers on land. I mean, mostly it's just for myself because it's just what I like, right? I never thought land was going to be such a valuable commodity. In my beginning of real estate, way back when, let's say like over a decade ago, I thought land was a waste of time and money, but wow, how wrong could I be? Really, really wrong. But let me get into it. If you do like this video, please hit that like button. It does help me out and I do appreciate it. And hit subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'll be posting more things similar to this in real estate in Las Vegas. But let's get into it. So land here in Las Vegas. Oh, and again, if you are not in Las Vegas, this information, these 4 different tips that I give you, are going to be able to be used wherever you are in the country. I'm just using Las Vegas as an example because that's where I practice, and that's where I know, and that's where I live. So that's what I usually like to do. But these steps can also help you wherever you are. It's going to be true. So first thing I want to get into is your zoning. So if you are going to be looking to, you need to know exactly what you're looking for. You need to know if you're going to be actually doing building a house, or if you're going to be building a business. You could do whatever you want to do, but you need to know what that end goal is, so we get you the right zoning for whatever property you're looking for. Me, right now, I'm sitting on 2.5 acres of land that I purchased to build a house on. I'm in the southwest part of Las Vegas. I knew what zoning I wanted. I wanted RE, which is rural estates. It's a special zoning here in Las Vegas that is specifically for rural life and equestrian, so horse riding. If you have animals for like farm stuff or whatnot, all of that can be here. And I mean, sometimes, like the world famous magician, Siegfried and Roy, they had huge tigers that they kept on their home and property. They had this kind of zoning, RE, so they could have those and they were allowed. But if you're in a zoning that does not allow for that, it is not okay to do it, and you can get big fines, and all sorts of things can happen. Kind of like if you were building, let's say you want to do a car business, you want to fix cars, you want to do a car shop, right? So you have a garage, you found a piece of land that's perfect for you. You said, oh, this is the right size that I need, it's within my budget. Bam, you build your shop. First off, you won't be able to build your shop because the zoning isn't right if it's in a neighborhood. And then likewise, you don't want to build a single family home in a commercial area, right? So you really need to know what zoning will work for you. And then when you find your property that may have the right zoning, figure out all the zoning around your property, because all the other zonings may affect what you can do with your property. Now this property that I'm in is rural estates. I picked this because the specifics about this zoning is 1 home for every ½ acre of land. So I will not have right next to me 10 homes that pop up within an acre, right? It's just not possible. It's not allowed with the zoning. It's a hard zoning too, which is something that can't change, which is really, really nice, right? Now, with your zoning, man, a few different things can happen. You want to make sure that you have not only the right zoning at the time, but you have found out what your planned land use is. So that's another step, which is a much more advanced step. And if you're buying land, you should be probably in one of this more advanced categories, because it is not something you just go do and just wham bam, hey, I got land now, I just want to build something. You really need to be careful on what you're doing. So in Las Vegas, we have zonings. It tells you what you can do and can't do with your land. Then another step further of that is a planned land use. So Clark County, Las Vegas, Henderson, they all have specific planned land uses of what they want the town to grow like. So if you are, let's say, shopping for, let's say, a commercial area, you want a commercial piece of property, but you want to be in a specific area. You don't want to be right next to all of the commercial area that's built up. You want to have it away from everything that's currently built. Let's just hypothetically say that. We have to go and look at let's say I'm in Southwest Las Vegas, so I'm in an enterprise township, which this may be a whole lot, but this is the enterprise township. So I'd have to go to the enterprise township and look up their planned land use. That governs every 5 years, they change it and update it, but that will let you know where they want the commercial, where they want the residential, where they want the high density residential, where they want the low density residential, and everything in between. So if you're shopping for land and you want a commercial piece of property, sometimes normal residential properties that are zoned only for single family homes currently have a planned land use of commercial. This is a big deal. So if you don't know this and your real estate agent do not know this, then you will be missing out on something that could be, one, a fantastic buy, and two, a really good piece of property that could work for your specific needs. I do have an example of this. I had a client that was really in a bad position. She needed to sell her property. She's upside down. She thought she was upside down with her mortgage and the value of her home, and it was a bad situation. Have to short sale all the way around, and even that may not even work out. But I let her know that, hey, your value is not in your current home, in your zoning as a single family home, and your current house, whatever's here right now. Your value is in your planned land use zoning, which was commercial. She was an island of commercial and a sea of residential, extremely valuable. She thought her house was only worth a couple $100,000, maybe $200,000 or $300,000. We sold it for $400,000. It got her out of where she needed to be, which is an exception. But if your agent doesn't know these things, and if you don't know these things, you could be leaving a lot of money on the table for someone else who knows these things. Now, if you got some use out of that, please hit the like button for that if you like that zoning information, and hit subscribe if you do want to see more content like this. My next thing, we're going to be going from zoning into utilities. Now, I'm going to actually step out of the car for this one because utilities are extremely important as well. It kind of compounds onto our zoning. You may think you have a great piece of land at a great price. However, if your utilities are close by or not too far away, that could add to your price significantly. Now, if you're on the flip side of this, if you have a property that has utilities on the property, they have been brought in and stubbed in, and you know this for a fact, that will save you so much time and so much money, and it's huge. So let me actually show you this box that's on my property. So if you're looking at zoning, if you're looking at utilities, right, you're curious about that, you are walking the lot. You are not just buying this on Zillow or whatever real estate website that you're going to. You are going to be going and walking the lot and making sure what is there and what is not there. So right now, let's take a look at this. Ooh, we got emergency services. That's no good. But this lot here, when I went to purchase it, had this box that was set up. And I knew that this box was actually on my lot at the time. Now, I say at the time because when you go through your process of getting your lot ready to develop, you will have to give some road to, or some of your property to the road and to the county to have that as an easement for people to drive through. Now, with this being on the lot, I knew that there was electric here because this says electric, right? So if you're going through it, electric, 20K. And the 20K just means that that lid can hold 20,000 pounds. So if you're driving over it, it should be just fine. I had no idea what that meant before. I thought maybe that was the amount of electricity, and it's not. But that electric box will have power in it. So it's very heavy. So if you are prospecting for land, bring tools, and so you can pop that open and see what's actually inside. Now this one has all the power that I need, and it only cost me $500 to be able to get my house hooked up. Well, the house that's going to be here at some point, just over $500. And NV Energy, Nevada Power, they are going to be able to pull this right in and hook it up. If this was not here, then we'd be looking at a whole different cost area. Now, if we were, let's say you just found a piece of land that has a power pole on it, like one of my good friends did as well. He said, wow, there's a power pole right there. This is perfect. I have power, all the power that I need right there. When he went to go actually talk to NV Energy and see how much power is there and what he needed to do to get electricity to his new house that he was building, long story short, $40,000 later, that is what you can run into. If you do not specifically know this before you purchase your property, you may have a huge bill that could just pop up. So even though he had a pole on his lot with power running to it, it was not enough supply, and he had to upgrade the equipment that's there, and it costs another $40,000 to do that. So you need to factor that in. Utilities do cost more, and I'll tell you a little bit more about other costs for the utilities, your gas, your electric, water, all those fun things. Because I mean, this video, just keep on watching, because I got so much information in this video. It's insane. Hit that like button because it's going to be a long one. But all right, so power, huge cost. Check your lot. If you have a pole there, don't assume that you have power. Next thing, I have Cox Cable. I was just lucky enough, here we go, to have Cox Cable. There we go. Cox Cable and Cat 5. So I have internet here and I have cable, which is awesome. And again, it says 20K on it, which just means 20,000 pounds of ability to drive on it. Now, Cox Cable, if you don't have that, you don't specifically need that for when you build your house, but it's, of course, I mean, you live in the 21st century, right? You want internet, you want cable. Maybe you're a cord cutter, which is fine. I don't have actual cable. I just use internet and stream everything. I mean, you're watching YouTube right now, so you're streaming that. But that is not needed, but it's probably a nice thing to have, right? The next thing, let's talk about your gas. If you choose to have gas at your property, some people will have let's say propane. Instead of bringing in their gas line to the property, they will have a propane tank on the lot, and it just gets filled up periodically by the company whenever you run out, which is fine. You can definitely do that. If you want the gas come into your home from the street, it will be an added cost onto your land cost. How much was that going to be? Well, it really depends. Long story short, if you have gas close by, the company, the Nevada Gas, or whatever that ends up being, whatever company that is, they charge $75 per linear foot to bring it in to your property. So that can add up pretty quick. With my property here specifically, they wanted to, okay, let me see. I'll show you this real quick. Over on this side, this person has gas. I knew gas was right there, and my hookup was going to be right here, just very close by. So there is gas in the street. It's really close. It's not too far, and it's actually, we found out that it is 80 feet into the property. So probably about right here. There's the end of the gas line for this street. Now, when I went to the gas company, they wanted me to bring my gas all the way to the end of my lot. My lot is extremely long. I have 333 feet of frontage, which they wanted me to bring all the way down for the next person. And of course, that's huge. It's a huge cost that we're running into with that. So I think that, I can't do let me see the numbers off the top of my head. I think it was something like $15,000 to $20,000, whatever it was. It was way more than I wanted to spend. So when I called, or when I was talking and negotiating, because everything's a negotiation in real estate, it seems like. When I was negotiating with the gas company, I said, guys, my lot is right here, my gas hookup is right here. There's no need for me to bring it down to the other side of the street. I would like to have gas. I do not need it though. I will just do all electric if we can't do something more reasonable. Their engineers redid it and said, okay, you don't have to bring it down the street. It's only $3,700. So $3,700, much better than $15,000, and I get gas, which is great. So keep that in mind. You may be able to negotiate something with the utility company, but it's not common. It is very not common at all. The next thing I want to tell you, which will be your biggest expense for utilities, is going to be, or not your biggest, it's going to be one of the biggest expenses, is your water. Holy moly, the water is just astronomically expensive to be able to have the privilege of tapping into. So the water in this lot, or in this area, which is a really good lot. I bought this lot because everything was so close. Your water, your sewer, your electric, your gas, everything was right in my street, right here. This is the cheapest you could possibly get without having everything stubbed into your lot. Water, which is right here in the street, $21,000 for me to just have the privilege of being able to spend the money to tap in and hook into it. So $21,000, and then I have to pay for someone to dig up the street, connect it, and then pave everything over. And not only just pave what I've done, I've cut up, I have to pave, way past it on each side to really cover up everything, which makes the city look better. I like it. I mean, okay, whatever, that's fine. But $21,000 for the water directly in front of my property. What is your property going to look like? If your water is not directly in front of your property and maybe it's down the street, that's going to cost a whole lot more. And you need to know that when you're getting into the whole land buying business. So now, let's say you bought a piece of land for $200,000. Now you got $20,000 in just water hookup, which let's add another $10,000 for someone to actually hook it up. $30,000 in water, potentially $40,000 for power, which you thought you had a pole right there. So you're $70,000 just for electric and water. 200 just went to 270 real fast. Now, the next thing that we have, let me see, we went through our gas, we went through our water, we went through our electric, and we went in through our cable and internet. The next things that you're going to have to do is, well, actually the next topic that we're going to be running into, we've done our zoning, we've done our we've done our zoning, we've done our utilities, and the next thing that we're going to be running into, let me check my notes here because, man, location. Now, before I get into location, of course, drop that like or hit subscribe. I know this is a really long video, but I've got a lot of content to go over because there's a lot of information about land that you need to know. Now, location. When you're, sorry, I'm just actually moving my tripod around in here in the car. So when you're looking for your location, you need to know where you want to be, not just right now, but what is something that you want, how do you want to be positioned for the future, right? I know that may be a little bit out there, but if you say, all right, I'm creating a business and I want to be a storage company, I want to do mini storage for everybody in the neighborhood, you want to know, find an area that's maybe not developed as much, but is planned for a large master plan community. Then you have a whole bunch of new customers that are going to be coming within the next few years. So if you could find a piece of land, build your company around it, and then the neighborhood populates around the whole area, boom, you got a whole bunch of new customers, and you're the guy to go to because you were there first. Now, on the flip side of it, if you're looking to build a single family home, know that your location is where you want to be potentially long term. I mean, your home is usually a biggest investment, and you may be there for 10 years, who knows, or even longer. My father-in-law's been in his place or owned his one property for almost 40 years now. I mean, it's a long time. that may be an exception, but you want to know what is going to be around your area and where it could go, right? So if you are, let's say, actually, let's use my father-in-law as an example still. He bought his lot before anybody was even out there. He bought it in south part of Las Vegas, southwest, and it was all open land, just complete open desert. He wanted to be out there because it was away from everybody. And now, 40 years later, everybody's around him. So, I mean, you can't stop progress, but try to visualize where your area is going to be. Do some research about what's going to be built up around your community and know where it may go. It just gives you a better idea of where you may end up in the, with your investment. Now, that one's kind of a, location. Everybody says, get the right location and you'll have, the right stuff. I mean, if you're going into an area that has location with an average home value of $200,000 and you buy a lot for 20 grand because you think it's an amazing deal, and then you want to build $1 million house on it, your value on how much money you're putting into that house may not pan out. So figure that out too. The location, the surrounding values, and is whatever you're building there appropriate. Can't stress that part enough, right? You never want to be the most expensive home in a neighborhood. You always want to be the least expensive home in the most expensive neighborhood, because your property, for being the least expensive home or the smallest home, let's say a 2,000 square foot home in a normally 3,600 square foot area, that 2,000 square foot home is going to cost more than a 2,000 square foot home in a community that's full of 1,200 square foot homes. That's just how it works. The next thing, the most important thing, at the end of this long video is the fourth item. Our fourth item, hit that like and subscribe, of course, because it does help me and I do appreciate it. But the fourth item on our list is price. Price would be one of the most important things that you're going to be looking at, but everything that we've talked about, zoning, utilities, location, all affect your price. So you really need to know all of those other things before you even get into your price of the property. Because if you are in, let's say, one of my other friends, he purchased a piece of land that was $180,000. Now, at the time, we thought it was an okay deal, we thought it was fine. All of his utilities were plumbed into the lot. The lot itself had already had a pad certification done, which means you can actually build on it right away. Like, you can come in, start digging, build your house, utilities are there, your pad's done, you're ready to go. 180 grand. Now, I had purchased a lot for $150,000 at the same time that he did. I said, hey, I got my utilities are close by. They're right in the street, so it must not be that much more. Well, I can tell you that guy, he got a way better deal than I did in the in the total cost of the situation. He had all of his utilities. Let's say, like we were talking about before, $70,000 in utilities that are just there for 30 grand extra. That is a deal. So the last thing you want to look at is your price to make sure it fits for what you're looking at. You can't take a half acre and a half acre and say one's 150, the other one's 110, and I'm just going to go with the 110 because that's the better deal. Well, the one for 110 may not have any utilities. You may have to spend another $100,000 in utilities to bring it all in, and then maybe you have to upgrade the lot, do a whole bunch of dirt work, bring in dirt, take away dirt. I mean, it's a big thing. You have to get your lot ready to build. It's a big added expense. So now the 110 may not look as appealing to 150 when that 150 lot has everything done to it and it's shovel ready. So that is kind of a big deal, and you really need to look into that. I hope this video helped you out. I felt like it's been a long time. I don't even know how long it's been right now, but man, it's been a long time, and I need to get some water. Hope this worked for you or helped you out. If it did, please hit subscribe and hit the like button. I really do appreciate it. If you have questions or comments, leave comments down below, because Land is really a specific thing, and there are so many more things than I've just talked about. I've given you 4 top things that I think that you need to look into, and a few extra things on top of that. But leave comments down below, shoot me a text, give me a call. All my contact information is down below. Oh my gosh, I need to tell you this. If you're in Las Vegas, or if you're in any other town, Las Vegas has it right now. It is something that they've done so well, better than any town that I've seen. They have a Gis Mapping system, GIS. Most towns have it, but some are not as good. Las Vegas has a Gis Mapping system from Clark County that lets you look into all the properties, your zoning, all your information that you need to know about land, pretty much is in there. It is so helpful. Not a lot of people know about it. And even calling into the county, I tell them I'm on your Gis system. They're like, huh? What? It's a great mapping system. I'll put a link for that down below too. But if you have a good mapping system in your area, whatever state or city that you're in, let me know, because I'm really curious to see it. I've looked in Utah, I've looked in California, and usually everything that I've seen is horrible, and you can't find good property data. In Las Vegas, I don't know what it is, but they are set up for property data. You want to find out information about this property? No problem. It's public record. It's everywhere. So you just need to know and have a really good realtor that knows where it is and how to find it. But okay, my name's Steve. I'll let you guys go. This has been a huge video, and leave comments down below if you have any questions. I'll talk to you. Have a good one.